Frogs have special semi-permeable skin that allows them to breathe as well as absorb water. And they live both in the water and on land, which makes them very sensitive to pollution. So if something's off in one of our waterways, it impacts frogs first. So it makes sense for us to monitor frog populations to understand the health of our local environment.
FrogWatch is a community science program that started in 1998, in which volunteers can go out into our parks at night to monitor frog populations by listening for the types of calls they hear that allows them to identify the species that we have in parks. All our volunteers receive training before they're given permission to access our parks at night to monitor frog populations throughout the spring and summer, generally making visits once a month or more.
So the data collected informs how Montgomery Parks manages their habitats and how we track any long-term changes that happen in our parks. We also add our data to the National FrogWatch USA database, which combines the efforts of tens of thousands of volunteers, which is pretty special.
So we're here at Locust Grove Nature Center, standing in front of our restored wetland that is adjacent to Cabin John Creek. Nature Center staff noticed that stormwater was racing down this slope into the meadow, and visitors were complaining that this area was often flooded and muddy. So we worked with Aquatic Resources staff to learn that there was actually a really big erosion problem here. The sediments were being deposited in the meadow and then also being deposited at nearby Cabin John Creek. In order to help address this erosion problem, this area was restructured to redesign the flow of stormwater through a series of cascades and pools that slowed the water down and created this wetland feature.
So wetlands are important because they provide natural flood control and they're allowing for sediment to settle. And they're also amazing at filtering out excess nutrients and other potential pollutants. So here at this particular project, 4,000 plugs of native plants that were propagated at our Hope Farm nursery were added, and thereby kind of growing the benefits and creating the wildlife habitats that we see here today. So our volunteers saw those benefits with their own eyes and heard them with their ears as well. 3 species, gray tree frog, American bullfrog, and green frog, were heard by our FrogWatch volunteers prior to the Wetland Enhancement Project.
As the restoration began in 2023, our volunteers noticed a difference right away, with spring peepers and American toads joining in addition to Fowler's toads. And then by 2025, we had Cope's gray tree frog in this area noted by our volunteers, and wood frog tadpoles as well. Want to learn more about frogs, toads, and FrogWatch?
Visit Montgomery Parks Living with Frogs page on our website.